And Jane, are you ready in front? Fellow commissioners, are you ready?
Always.
Always. That's the one who said you never asked me. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, September 13th, 2023, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the board meeting. We'll call this meeting to order at 9:00 a.m. You can join today's board meeting via phone. Dial 971-254-3149, conference ID 736-023-979#. Audio capabilities are listen only and offered on a best effort for the public. Our meeting is also live streamed, and you can join us by going online to tctvonline.com and click on live broadcasts. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing star 6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras turned off. Thank you. Public comment. Those intending to provide public comment to the board may attend in person or email submissions to publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become part of the public record. You may also provide public comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comments can also be mailed to the Board of Commissioners Office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. Do we have anyone signed up online or in the room for public comment?
We don't.
Okay, no public comment today. Wonderful. Okay, we have already called the meeting to order, so I would just welcome everyone who's with us today. It's wonderful to see so many people in the room. Love having actually face-to-face, so thank you for joining us. And if you have not yet, please make sure you sign the guest list, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Bell, would you lead us, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, not having any public comments and no non-agenda items today, we're going to move right into our presentation with the Tillamook County Library Foundation TLT Grant Success Series presentation. We have Ruth LaFrance, Tillamook County Library Foundation, and a few others. I don't know if anyone else wants to join you, or if you get to be the...
I think I'm the person who's doing the presentation.
Wonderful.
But the people that are here, Sally Underwood and her husband Jerry, and Larry Oswald, and Don Algier from the library, these are all, and Chris Kiola, they're all on the board, except for Jerry. He's kind of, but he's helps a lot. Anyway, so these people have all been very active and involved in this project.
Thank you. I appreciate the introductions. Yes.
So, well, you can see it up there.
Yeah, and we all have copies.
So this is just kind of like the title page. And so before there was a park, I mean, this is our sign out there. It's easily read.
Ruth, can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. Ruth LaFrance. I'm the president of the Tillamook County Library Foundation.
No?
No,
Thank
just
you
for the
for
record.
that.
Okay, that's what I am.
Thank you.
Okay, so there was a vacant lot and a vision. And the place where the library sits now used to be Copeland Lumber. And on this lot, I don't actually remember this, but there was a little blue house apparently in very decrepit condition. Well, and that's, and then it was removed and then we bought it. So that's what the lot was.
Yeah, we worked out a deal, Ruth, with that homeowner who was very, I can't remember her name, but, you know, she was very agreeable to negotiating with the foundation, and that's how that happened.
Yeah. So we got it. And so there were visionaries, and Stu and Clarice Maxwell, this was their dream. I think it was mostly Clarice's dream, but anyway, it was their dream. that they saw having a park next to the library would be an extension of the library. It's a community room without walls and without a ceiling, essentially. And then they donated very generously to the foundation in the hopes that eventually there would be a park. Unfortunately, in 2014, in March, Stu died, and then Clarice died in April. So they were never ever just able to see that any of this happened. And then Sarah Charlton was who was the former library director. She really championed the idea of having a park. And so this bill says, in October of 2014, the lot was up for sale. We were able to purchase it because we had the money, and it was immediately deeded to the county with the understanding that it would become a library park, okay? And things happened between 2014 and 2018. It's not that they didn't, but in 2018, it was when the foundation, because the board kind of made it, like, we need to do this. We became the people who were running the park project after that. And Richard Turry was the architect for the main building. And so he was hired back and asked to develop a plan for the park. And what he did was he went out and held public meetings throughout the county, got input, what do people want? And so he created this initial design. And from what you can see down in the corner over here, the right-hand corner, looks like a pool. Well, we don't have a pool. So his design has been interpreted based on conversations among our board, how much money we have, that sort of thing. And anyway, so we have a fountain, but we don't have a pool. But we do have a water feature, so that was one of the things people wanted. They also wanted to have a place where you could just kind of sit and quietly contemplate. So this great big giant tree in the corner, which is an Atlas cedar, it's been there forever. There are 8 benches altogether, and so people do come in and they do sit and they just kind of are there. They also use the Wi-Fi from the library. Works well. And then the stage. So the stage was the really big thing with the TLT grant. We needed to have a way of putting that in there because that is essentially the third major feature of this park. And then you have the whole area there that's basically empty. It's grass right now. And so you can have events in the grass, you can have events that go on the stage, you can put chairs out there. The library has sled chairs so that they work really well. Anyway, so that's what that is. Okay, in August of 2018 then, we put up Your Library Park is Coming Soon, and we had a groundbreaking on August 25th. It was kind of more like a divot. It was extremely hard. The shovel was not particularly adequate to the job. Anyway, we did it. We broke the ground. And then this is, next slide.
Okay.
Okay, so this is basically phase 1 is what you're seeing. And I put complete up there, but we still have one thing to do. We have some statues to put out there, and theoretically they're going to be out there by the end of the year. But anyway, it was putting in the pavers, putting in flower beds and benches, and then the lights. It is really well lit. If you go by at night, it's a really bright spot out there. I'm not sure you can see it from the satellite, but it's bright. Okay, and then phase 1 funding. The Tillamook Urban Renewal Agency, we received a grant for $49,750, and that grant was divided into a variety of sections, and so each one of those had so much assigned to it. But it allowed us to put in the initial paving, the flower beds, and the wall that goes along 3rd Street. Cultural Coalition gave us a grant of $1,000, and we used that to purchase a piece of statuary. Tillamook Revitalization Grant, same thing. And then the foundation provided with donations, with bookstore receipts, with funds that we got from interest, another $130,845 to make that first part. And that doesn't include the purchase price. Okay, and One of the things about the Tillamook Urban Renewal Agency is that one of their goals is to create green spaces, which this obviously is right downtown, and then to increase the tax base. So the park doesn't increase your tax base by itself because it belongs to the county, taxes. But having a park in your neighborhood usually brings up the value of your home. So, okay, and then in phase 2, principally we were building. We actually had asked for, we were gonna do a whole bunch of stuff, well, we did what we could. It financed the stage, and then, once again, donations, bookwork, store receipts, that sort of thing. We put in another $64,406. And so we were able to complete the perimeter wall all the way around, except for on the north end, and that's gonna be a little different, and construct the platform stage. We had wanted to pave in the grass area, but with the downturn in the market, our income went, and so anyway, we did what we could. And at this point, $322,000 has been put into that lot. That includes the purchase price. Okay, so give you some exciting pictures here. On the left, this is part of phase 2, part of what the TLT grant helped us do. So we finished up the wall along there, put those pillars in for the entrance, and then you see the footing on the right-hand side, and that we required a footing because the wall is 6 feet tall. And that footing and that wall on that west side runs along a private property, and there was a wooden fence there. So we actually went to the owner and told her what we were gonna do, and asked her if she would like us to take out her wooden fence and replace it. Well, she thought about it for a while and finally decided yes, she would. So we removed her wooden fence, which needed to be removed anyway, and then put up a wall. So now she has this really nice wall on the west side. And she hasn't complained, so I guess everybody's happy about it. And then we constructed the stage, which required probably digging it out, pouring in the concrete. And so what you see on the lower right-hand side is basically it's finished. That picture isn't totally complete because the ramp was finished a little bit more, but anyway, this is what we ended up doing. We actually spread some more grass in too. It was pretty bare. Okay, so you asked about economic impact. So phase 1, we used local contractors. We tried as much as possible to use local people and local materials. It's not possible to do that entirely, but so North Coast Lawn did all the paving. They've done all the brick, all the block work, everything. Angus Electric installed the lights, and that required putting in conduits all over the park. And House Performing, he built the little platforms that the lights have to sit on. Rick Bernard helped, he installed our signage. We have plaques that are on the benches. He did those. He has very special talents for these things. The Maxwell Library Park sign on the front, put that in. And then there was a dedication plaque on one of the pillars and put that in. Tom Leonic did some of the digging up of where the conduits went. So, and then in phase 2, North Coast Lawn, once again, they finished up the block fences. Lot 35 Homes constructed the stage. So, and they, in their construction, use local people. I don't know who they are, but the pillars on the side of the stage are steel, and so those had to be made. And then there's a special beam that goes across the front, supports the roof. Rosenberg Builder Supply, I think, was the conduit for all the materials, and then Coast Ride Ready Mix, of course, for the concrete. And overall, we have used, in one way or another, sometimes just a little bit, sometimes a lot more, 30 businesses within Tillamook County to do this. So, and once again, like I said, it's a $322,000 thing. Tourism. You're not going to find a full impact of what the stage can do right away because now it's done, but it has been used for library programming this summer, and there have been two Chautauqua type talks that were, it's kind of funny, they were on the stage. You usually think of like somebody's gonna be on the stage and people are gonna sit down here, but for those, everybody sat on the stage, which works. And so it's gonna be a while. There are organizations, the Board of CAPA is trying to figure out, well, what could we do? How can we do this? And the chamber knows that it's there, and hopefully they're gonna be using it also as a venue. And then there was a woman who came to me, and she's from North County, and apparently an organization, called, Original Shakespeare. Used to do programs in North County, but doesn't do them anymore. Could they do them in the park? And I was like, oh, well, I don't know why not, you just have to make all these arrangements. And apparently what they do is they come and for 2 days, one day they put on a tragedy, one day they put on a comedy. And the idea of Original Shakespeare is that they have a scroll. And they read from this, they don't have to have memorized everything. But anyway, it should be really fantastic if it gets going. And so you have a tourist draw for that sort of thing. A lot of people like that kind of thing. So Library Park it's part of a lot of things that draw people to Tillamook County, okay? And it's gonna provide, like I said, one more opportunity for people to come and see what we have. And it's there all year long. Once again, arrangements for use have to be made through the library, but it is there. And I see it as a place also for like short educational forums, as Chautauqua talks, but also when groups find out about it, if you're coming over for a weekend and you need a place to rendezvous before you head to wherever you're going further west, the library is a perfect spot because you have a place to rendezvous in the park and you have restrooms and whatnot available. So anyway, so what was once a vision is now a reality, and this is a summer reading program that was taking place out in the park. That's it.
Wonderful, thank you.
so much.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions and comments?
Oh, I really appreciate your presentation, and I very much appreciate your leadership and that of the foundation board through this whole project. It's been extraordinary to watch it. It's to have been an observer through the ups and downs of COVID and the market changes, as you said, because of the foundation investments, and it's just it's amazing. It was, I think, when I came on, the property had been purchased, but the park hadn't really been started. So it's just been a joy to watch that happening over the last 5 years, and to have seen it come to completion this summer. We had just recently, as you know, I'm sure, the retirement party for Tassie O'Neill, who retired as Tillamook County Clerk, and it was wonderful. It was great. There was a great gathering of people, maybe 60 people, and Don was indispensable in his help, setting up chairs, and we had cake and cookies, and it was just, people had shady areas and great conversation, and it was heartening to me to think of the ways that the park will build community, that the community will really be able to gather there, in addition to tourists, of course,
Yeah, sure.
but that, it's really, it's value added in so many ways. And I think, I love the idea of the Original Shakespeare. I think there will be all kinds of ways that the park and the stage are utilized, and I feel great about the investment in TLT funds for the stage. And also, I didn't know the amount that the foundation had donated to this park. It's very impressive. Thank you. It's very impressive. The donations and the receipts from book sales, etc., it's extraordinarily generous. So thank you for all of your contributions to our community.
Thank you. Ruth, members of the board, Director Alguer, thank you so much for being here today. This was from long before 2014. This was quite a vision, really was. And it's coming to fruition. I'm glad that this is coming together, especially glad that you're able to utilize some of the tourism dollars that the county has. And I think there is the ability for the library to gain additional funding from transient lodging tax dollars. And that's what this is for. These are for things to bring the county together and really have a place like this. It can be a performance venue, it can be for birthday parties, it can be for retirements, things of that nature. I mean, again, I think it's turned into quite an area. And again, this took vision from a long time ago, and that vision isn't done yet. It is not. This is something that will continue to grow. Again, I want to thank you for being here today, and I want to encourage you to continue to consider transient lodging tax dollars and grant applications as we move forward with this. I think it's great. Again, thank you for being here.
Yeah, and I would share that thanks. I had the opportunity to be there for the opening of the park, which was a wonderful event. I had the chance prior to that I spent some time on the foundation website just getting the background, and clearly Steele and Crease were amazing people in our community. They started out as master gardeners and became involved in the library and just did a ton of things, but the biggest of which was being the visionaries for this. And visionaries are no good if they don't gather people around them and have a team that also believes in their vision. And clearly all of you sitting in front of us today really believed in their vision and brought it to fruition. So I appreciate that work. And for me, this is a perfect transient lodging tax project, because what we really look for with transient lodging tax is something that can serve our community and our visitors both, so that the enrichments really help our community on all fronts. And this is one that will absolutely do that. We know that visitors flock to the library when they're here, whether it's because they need the Wi-Fi, whether it's because they need a computer, or because they're visiting here and they see one of our many wonderful programs and just say, I'm going to do that this afternoon. That sounds interesting. So the library is a really important tourist facility, and we appreciate the work that you're doing with that. And this park is a great extension of it. So thank you very, very much.
I'd also like to shout out to Sarah Charlton, who I don't know if she's watching. I know she came to the dedication of the park, which is lovely. She did an amazing job championing this project, and Don Algier has done an amazing job wrapping up this project. So that was a fairly smooth transition, and I really appreciate everyone's work historically and currently.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, well, thank you again for coming, and thank all of you for being here in person. It's wonderful to feel like we're talking with people. So thank you for that. Okay, we will move on in our agenda to item number 6, which is discussion and consideration of a specialty court grant program agreement number SCP-23-39 with the State of Oregon Criminal Justice Commission. And we have Ani Seaholm, Lieutenant with the Sheriff's Office. Good morning, Ani.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So this is our Criminal Justice Commission grant for our specialty court, which is behavioral health. This is for 2 years. We had brought this before the board when we submitted this. They have now provided us our final budget, which is less than we had originally asked for. But it's still a decent amount for the 2 years. This goes to fund part of a PO, that's the main PO for the specialty court. It also helps with Tillamook Family Counseling for clinician costs and their treatment books. Participant supports for anything from housing to bikes, anything else that we could consider that a participant would need to be successful in the program. And then also some other incentives. And training. So we're required to send some team members to the national conference once every biennium. So there's some money that's allotted for that as well. The total amount that we were awarded is $403,000 roughly, and that's for a course of 2 years.
Okay,
And
thank
if
you.
there's any questions, I can answer that.
Sure. Commissioners, questions or comments?
Just to say thank you and bravo to you. I know it's a ton of work for you to organize and apply for these grants. It's a big project, and I know people are supporting you in this work, but largely it's on your desk, and it's your responsibility. And so bravo in bringing in $404,000 revenue for specialty courts for the next 2 years. It's so important. Your work is so important. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate your work also on this. I know the paperwork is just horrendous to do whenever you're dealing with a state agency. $403,000, that's nothing to sneeze at, especially when we're talking specifically, this use is for the Tillamook County Behavioral Health Court. I'm not sure that people realize that, we have major problems with behavioral health, as every Oregon county does. And for us to find a way to take this out of people having to spend their time behavioral health issues in the past sometimes have been handled by putting them in jail and things, and that's just not appropriate. It's taken this county a long time to build up our specialty courts in Tillamook County. This is one of them, and bringing this money in to work with these people rather than having them sit in jail somewhere, it's absolutely the right thing to do. And so, I appreciate all your work on this. I know it's not easy, and I know this is just one of the grant applications that you do on a regular basis. Bringing these types of services to the people of Tillamook County is absolutely imperative. And this is, at this point in time, this is the best way to handle this situation. So, thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
And I agree, Ani, these are wonderful programs, and I've said before, you are so much a social worker in probation and parole. It's community corrections, it's law enforcement, but it's social work. It's really helping people and really understanding what is at the heart of what, in this case, is driving a behavior that's criminal, but it isn't a criminal mindset. It isn't someone that is doing this out of the pure criminality of it. It's something more going on in their behavioral health, and having behavioral health court to work with folks. So instead of just, as Commissioner Yamamoto said, putting them in jail and leaving them, it's actually understanding what's happening and working with them through that to help them get onto the right path and get their needs met so that they can get out and take good care of themselves and stay out of criminal activity in the future. So it's huge, and I know it's a lot of work. I sit in the steering committee meetings. I know that it takes really essentially the entire day of the court system's time, along with your time and staff from your office, staff from Tillamook Family Counseling. It is a resource-intensive project, but it's worth it. The graduations that we've had are amazing, and people who are staying out of the criminal justice system because they're getting what they need. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the grant work that you do. Grants are never easy, and state grants are absolutely not easy. So many hoops. So thank you for putting this together and doing the work with everyone to adjust as the state has changed the budget, because then that requires an entire reworking of a program you've already created to make it fit the budget. So thank you for all of that.
Madam Chair, ready for a motion?
I think that we are.
Madam Chair, in consideration of a specialty court grant program agreement number SCP-23-39 with the State of Oregon Criminal Justice Commission, I would move approval.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to item 7, discussion and consideration of a Criminal Justice Commission Justice Reinvestment Program 23-25 final grant application. Ani.
Okay, so this is another Criminal Justice Commission grant. This is our final application for justice reinvestment, and they call it JRP now instead of JRI.
Oh, that's
Just
different.
messing with us. Just messing with us.
So I may get those mixed up, so I apologize, but it is JRP now, the Justice Reinvestment Program. So this formula for this Criminal Justice Commission grant is a little different. It's based on our allocation formula that they use for our normal state grant and aid process. So for Tillamook County, we would have been awarded $268,785. I should say that's what we can apply for. And part of that, 10% goes to a victim services, so we work with Ties of Change for that, and then 3% goes back to the state for an evaluation project. So what you have before you for consideration is our final application. This just lays out our programs that we're proposing to use the money for. This includes everything from our Brighter Futures program, which is basically a combination of various different things that we plugged into one overall program, and so that involves food handlers card, our partnership still with Summit Bay Community College. We don't have a work crew currently. What we're working on with this Brighter Futures program is more of a professional development program for our adults in custody. I've been working really closely with the sheriff and the jail commander on this. And so what we're hoping to see is that if someone enters this program and they are an adult in custody and they decide to be a volunteer worker while they're serving their time, they also then would work on building a resume, working on interview skills, get their food handler's card, and then when they exit and are released, they would leave with a resume, they would leave with a certificate of completion. So the idea is to work on those skills so that way when they transition out, they're more employable, can hopefully find a job right away. And then jail staff would do a follow-up phone call within 30 days to see if they were successfully able to find employment. So that's kind of a big focus of the program. Another piece is we still supervise DUI cases. They're an unfunded case, and so we're trying to tie some of this money into that supervision. So it'd go to a PO, actually 2 POs, part of their salary and wages, and then another one would be our JRP program, which would be more of a supervision for those downward departure cases that are focused on property, drug, and driving crimes. And we would also offer pre-sentence assessments if that was ordered by the court, just for another piece of information for these individuals that may be looking at a downward departure sentence. And then, of course, just some added funds for subsidy, housing, bus, other needs that we can see or identify for justice-involved individuals. And then lastly, we have a little bit tied towards our court call notification, and this is for those people that are released before arraignment. Jail staff does a phone call to just remind them of their court appearance, hoping to help reduce the potential for a fail to appear. So there's kind of a lot going on here, but like I said, this is our final application. We'll submit this then actually today if approved by you guys, and then we'll hear back from Criminal Justice Commission on what they fund us for.
Perfect, thank you. Questions and comments, commissioners?
Again, I really appreciate your work on this. This is another heavy lift, and I'm grateful for your work and your leadership in this. And I appreciate the program itself. I appreciate everything that's going on there to help reduce recidivism, to help people who are incarcerated to become, to gain skills, to gain job skills or education, opportunities to do something different when they get out. And so I think it's in the best interest of our community as well as in the best interest of incarcerated people. And so it's, I think altogether it's really important work, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
And I agree, Aya. This work is terrific. You know, the original thought behind JRI, now JRP, was rather than spend billions of dollars in the state of Oregon building a new prison, redistribute that money, keep people out of prison, allow that money to go back to the counties to work with people. And that's exactly what's happening here. As Commissioner Bell states, we want to put people back into the communities, reintegrate them into the communities so that they don't have these drug problems and problems with theft and things of that nature. And this is the best way to do it. And so far it is working. We have not had to even consider building a new prison in the state. And that's because of all the work that's going on at the local level, keeping people out of prison. So to me, this program is terrific. $260,000, $261,000 over 2 years. That's a great start. It's certainly not all that we need, but the program, I think, in Tillamook County is working. I appreciate very much the partners you have, such as Tides of Change. I don't understand quite a portion of the money going back to the state of Oregon, but be that as it may, I'm sure there's a good reason for that. So again, the whole idea here is to change the course of people's lives so that they can get back to being productive members of our society here in Tillamook County. So again, I think it's working. I appreciate all your work on this. Let's hope in the future that JRI, now JRP funding will increase over the years upcoming, so that we keep people out of prison. And I think that's the reason for this whole program, and to me, it's working. So thank you for that, Madam Chair.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I agree. It's a great program, and it is another piece of, I think, why I say your group does social work. You're really working with people to say, how do we help you move forward? How do we keep you from being back to visit us? You know, that reduction in recidivism. How do we do that work? And you guys work really hard at that. One of the other things that I saw in the grant this time that I thought was really just a great piece of it was some work with Portland State University on cultural responsivity. One of the pieces of this grant, as with all state grants, is a requirement that we are looking carefully at whether we as a county have overrepresented certain racial or ethnic groups in our criminal justice, and in particular in this case in those who are being sent to jail. And so every year we've had to look at those numbers, and those numbers, if anyone wants to know, are available online. It's an interesting website that you can dig into and see across the state, as well as any county in the state, what those representations are. And we have not found that we are overrepresented in any particular group, but we do have a requirement to continue to do that and to be culturally responsive for those who are ethnically or racially specific in our programs. And so I know that we do have Spanish-speaking corrections officers, which is wonderful. It's an important piece of it, but it's just we're going to do a deeper dive and make sure we're doing everything we can, which is really great. So I was happy to see that as a part of the grant. Okay, I think that we're ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration, let me make sure I'm reading the right one.
Number 7.
Thank you for that. I was reading the wrong one. Madam Chair, in consideration of a Criminal Justice Commission Justice Reinvestment Program 2325 final grant application, I would move approval.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you,
Okay,
Lonnie.
thank you, Ani.
Thanks, Commissioners.
All right, number 8, discussion and consideration of a memorandum of understanding with the City of Nehalem for Tillamook County Community Health Mobile Dental Clinic Services. Marlene Putman, Administrator, Health and Human Services. Good morning, Marlene.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, we're excited to have this agreement with the City of Nehalem to make sure that we have area for parking the mobile clinic in North County to provide dental services. We've had some conversations, and I really have to thank our outreach and mobile clinic coordinator, Rachel Koljeski, for attending the meetings and making sure that we had conversations to ensure a spot for the mobile clinic. So if you're from, I don't know all the street names, so I just go by when you go through the town and you get up the hill, and it's in that big parking lot. That's like my official description of where it's located. We, on our flyers, we have a better description than that. But that's how I know it is the open lot as you head up the hill from Nehalem. But we appreciate the city agreeing to work with us. This is I would say, typical memorandum of understanding for the county, with the responsibilities listed of the health center providing the services, bringing the mobile clinic, and providing the services in the mobile clinic. There will be some people outside, but we'll make sure that their awnings up if need be, but primarily it will be occurring in the clinic. And then the city is agreeing to reserve that lot for us on the 2nd and 4th Monday of every month at this point. So this actually, we're proposing the effective date start July 24th of 2023, and then it continue in force and effect until termination as described in the Section 7 of this agreement. So the rest of the provisions are the standard provisions that the county has in our MOUs, and this has already been signed by the City of Nehalem Mayor, and it's reviewed by legal counsel and is now here for your review and approval.
Perfect. Thank you, Marlene. Questions and comments, commissioners?
I think that's terrific. I live in Nehalem. I'm familiar with the public parking lot I'm talking about. It seems like a great location for that service, and I continue to be grateful that uninsured or underinsured people can receive dental health services in Tillamook County. And I love it that we're putting the mobile clinic to use and getting it up north and down south, and so that everybody in our community has the opportunity to take advantage of those services, so thank you.
And I concur with Commissioner Bell. Again, our health department, under the tutelage of Marlene Putman, doing such a great job, having a mobile clinic that's able to tour the county on a regular basis, make sure that health care is provided to anyone that needs it within the county. We're doing something right here. We really are. But having a place to park the mobile clinic also is important. And having it in one location so that everyone gets familiar with where they're supposed to go when that mobile clinic is in North County is terrific. So again, this is just one of the many things that need to be done prior to positioning that mobile clinic somewhere. Can't just illegally double park it or something like that. So we could. I am in full support.
Perfect, thank you, as am I. More dental services are never a bad thing. And for people who struggle to be able to get down to Tillamook to see a dentist, having this come to them in North County is just, that's wonderful. So appreciate very much the hard work that goes into making that happen, and I think we're ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of a memorandum of understanding with the City of Nehalem for Tillamook County Community Health Mobile Dental Clinic Services, I would move approval.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you, and just a plug, because now we need a mobile clinic driver.
Oh.
If anybody would like to volunteer that drives a mobile clinic or would like some part-time work, just a couple times a month, drive up, you can take a county car back and then come back and pick it up later in the day. Great way to meet folks, learn your community, and support a great resource.
Is that a
Give me a
CD,
call if you need to.
Marlene, is that a CDL position or no?
No,
Okay,
it's not, it's a motorhome, so you don't have to have a CDL.
oh, that's great. Okay, thank you.
Well, you'd think we would have some retired folks here who have a lot of experience driving a big motorhome that
Yes.
might enjoy this opportunity, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Perfect.
right. Well, I'll keep talking about it. You definitely need a driver if we're gonna have this work. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 9, discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the appointment and reappointment of members to the Tillamook County Property Value Appeals Board. Christy Biggs, County Clerk.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Commissioners. So before you this morning is the order to appoint and reappoint members to our Property Values Appeal Board that went under a name change in this last legislative session. So they changed it from the Board of Property Tax Appeals, which was BOPTA, and now they are PVAB. So it sounds like a vaccine, but yes.
PVAB.
So that's the new name. Another change that came with it is that it's a 2-year appointment as well. So people are appointed for 2 years every September or before October 15th. So this year, we have 2 returning members, which would be Lloyd Seeley, and Lloyd has been on our board, I want to say close to 20 years.
Wow.
So he's been serving the people of Tillamook for a long time, and we appreciate him so much. This will be his last year, so we're very sad to see him go. So a plug if we'll have to go out for recruitment again this year to find another board member. So we'll be working with the Commissioner's office on getting a recruitment out, but we'll be looking for people. So anyone interested can let us know. And then Steph Poppy, who is a local realtor, she will be coming back again as well. And then we have a new member, Gary Knowlton, and so he will be joining us this year. And so we're kind of excited. Sad to see Lloyd go, but we're looking forward to this 2-year appointment process, and hopefully there's some other changes that we'll be going into with our boards, but they're going to continue doing a great service for us, and so we're really thankful for them. And so, any questions?
Since we're making a plug for a future volunteer board member, would you like to talk a little bit about what the board is and what they do?
Absolutely. So every year when tax statements are mailed, a property owner can appeal the value that the assessor has put on the roll, and they have from the date that the tax statements are mailed until December 31st and to file an appeal. And this year the deadline will be January 2nd because of a holiday. And then once we receive those appeals that come through the clerk's office, and we are the clerk for the board. And we take those in, we schedule the appointments, and we're kind of that unbiased third party between the property owner and the assessor's office. And then the board will sit down, there's training that they will go through, and then they are the ones that sit, they hear what the assessor's office has to say, what the property owner has to say, and then they make a decision based on the rule about whether the values are sustained and kept or if they should be lowered. And so that is, in a nutshell, what their role is. And so having some knowledge about like property values and prior appraisers or realtors, that's really helpful. But yes.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks. I'd also like to just mention that this is the first time you've come before us as Tillamook County Clerk, so welcome to this position.
Thank you very much.
Christy was appointed on and sworn in on the 1st of this month, and she will serve as Tillamook County Clerk. And I understand from you, run in the next election. She is
Yes.
serving as clerk and will run in the next election to be elected to that position. And so thank you for your service. Welcome to the job, and nice to have you here with us.
Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk.
Yes.
I love that. I do. Thank you for everything you're doing. I'm going to be very confused here. We used to call it BOPTA,
Yes.
Board of Property Tax
Appeals.
Appeals. Now it's TCPVAB. I don't know how we say something like that. I don't.
Yep.
But having people that have served on this board for 20 years is truly incredible. I say this time and time and time again. Tillamook County cannot survive without its volunteers on so many different boards and committees and councils, and we can't operate the county without the volunteers. So we appreciate that very much moving forward, and this is something that, so they don't have many meetings during the year. It's just one time of year, correct?
We have been, someone needs to knock on wood for me, but we have been very lucky the last few years that we've had about 26 at the most appeals for probably the last 3 years. The assessor's office works really hard with the property owners to hear their side of it and to kind of weigh it and say, okay, well, do we need to lower, and work with the property owner. And so they're able to cut down, I would say maybe 50% of those appeals,
Wow.
and usually have about 12 or under that go to hearings. And so we're able to get done in one day, which has been really nice. So they have that one day, they have training that's a full day, and then
Okay.
there's a day that we have to convene by law the session, and then they have some online trainings that probably take them maybe a day. So it's
Wow.
about 4 days total.
Perfect. Again, I want to thank everyone that serves on this board and any board as a volunteer in Tillamook County. It's terrific. And Christy, we're looking for some great things from you in the future.
Thank you.
So keep up the good work. And with that, I am in full support of this motion.
Okay, as am I. I think you all have said it well. We appreciate our volunteers. It's important work. And we look forward to the service of these individuals, and thank Lloyd for his many years of service, and hope he enjoys his last year on board.
Yes.
All right, I think we're ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of an order in the matter of appointment and reappointment of members to the Tillamook County Property Value Appeals Board, this being board order number 23-060, I would move approval.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you
Christy.
very much.
Christy.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 10, discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of declaring county-owned property as surplus. We have Nick Torres, the Veteran Service Officer, with us this morning. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Commissioner
Good
Scar.
morning.
So we have a surplus copier that is old. There's no more software updates for it, so we would like to have IT auction it off.
Okay.
Is there much value to this, do you know?
I don't believe so. I'd give it probably like a $0 because we can't get it to work.
So in other words, you just want it out of your office, right?
Yeah, we take, if it was working, we'd still be using it. I have a table for a desk. I use the BOCC's hand-me-down chairs. So, We'll drive it till the wheels fall off, but we will
Which is
support.
why we just gave you that very old car, is because you will drive it till the wheels fall off, right? Thank you for your frugalness. That is appreciated. I know, as a tax-funded program, I know people are always curious where our tax dollars go, and I know you guys do an amazing job. And thank you for how you serve your community.
Do you
Questions?
now have a working printer?
We do, we transferred one of the copiers from the clerk's office, but we have 3 working printers.
Good, okay, good.
And Nick, I just want to point out that you're doing a terrific job as a Veteran Service Officer here in Tillamook County. Veterans, I know, each and every one of them, really appreciate what you do. You go above and beyond what your job really requires. But it's important that we serve the veterans in this county. So again, thank you so much for what you do. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and it takes a working copier to serve veterans, so appreciate, yes, so let's make sure you have that. I think we're ready for motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of an order in the matter of declaring county-owned property as surplus, this being board order number 23-061, I would move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Nick. Okay, item number 11, discussion and consideration of authorizing county council to sign Oregon's supplement to statewide allocation agreement. Joel Stevens, county council. Good morning, Joel.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Thank you for letting me bring this to you today. This is a supplement to the previously entered statewide allocation agreement. As all of you probably recall, Tillamook County, along with the state of Oregon and many other counties in Oregon, have been involved for years now in litigation at the national level against defendants who primarily contributed to the nationwide opioid epidemic. And we previously entered into an allocation agreement after significant negotiation with the state about how the funds that come to Oregon would be distributed. But since entering into that agreement, some additional defendants have settled and are now part of the settlement agreement. And so it became necessary to supplement that previous agreement to incorporate some different terms with these particular settlements. Some of them have different reporting requirements, things like that. So this just updates the previously entered into allocation agreement, as well as applying that allocation agreement to these new settlement funds that will be coming in the next several months. So
Yes,
I think,
ridiculous.
so I think, I think generally we were pretty happy with where the allocation agreement came out with the state. It's my understanding that other counties are signing on to this addendum as well. And so my recommendation would be to authorize me to sign it. It's executed through an online portal, so I would go and do that with your permission.
Thank you, Joel. Questions or comments?
I'm fully supportive. Thank you, Joel.
Yeah, Joel, this opioid litigation has been going on and on and on. Seems like we're never going to get to the end, but it's important that we get our share of the funding to help us serve the people that are addicted to these opioids. Again, we don't want to throw people in jail. We've got a drug specialty court in Tillamook County also. So this funding is important to Tillamook County, but this is a nationwide piece of litigation. So this money is going to be chopped up into thousands of different pieces. We're going to be one of those. But I am in full agreement with allowing you to sign this paperwork once it should become available.
And I agree. I believe so far we've received $56,000 from the original agreement. So, you read this huge number of what's going to be available, and then as Commissioner Yamamoto indicated, it gets sliced and diced and passed down to all of the different groups that are part of the lawsuit. So we continue to be hopeful that with each additional sort of settlement that comes with it, that number will grow and be able to support the harm reduction and other pieces of the program that have been created in Tillamook County to assist people who have found themselves in an opioid addiction situation. I always tell this story because it just stuck with me so much when we talk about the opioid crisis and how did we get here. And I remember sitting in what was then a physician's advisory council or something at the hospital, and one of the physicians saying, I remember when opioids came out and we were required to prescribe a minimum number of them every month.
Wow.
That was part of the business model, was that we had to prescribe. And I'm not suggesting this was at Adventist Health, this was a physician that had come here later, but where this physician was required to prescribe a certain number. And so if we wonder why lawsuits are being why there are lawsuits and why people are winning, the business practices that were behind the rollout of the opioids were just abysmal. So we now have a lot of folks who are in a position where their brain simply won't function without them. And we are in a position where medically we are reducing how many a doctor can prescribe. We've completely flipped that on its head. It used to be you must prescribe a minimum. Now it is you can only prescribe a maximum. And so for a lot of folks, it's a very difficult transition. So this funding is important. It's important for our harm reduction programs. It's important for treatment work. It's important that we're here to help. So yes, sign on. Let's see if we can get that number to grow and be something very significant to support those in our community who need it. All right, I think we're ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of authorizing County Council to sign Oregon Supplement to Statewide Allocation Agreement, I would move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks, Joel.
Thank you,
Okay,
Commissioners. Thank you.
that brings us to board concerns. Do we have any board concerns today?
I don't have a board concern, but on the topic of the opioid crisis, I just want to mention for the readers who are watching our show or listening, I just finished the novel Demon Copperhead, and it's a Barbara Kingsolver novel that just won the Pulitzer Prize, and it's about the opioid crisis. And it's just excellent. So Barbara Kingsolver, Demon Copperhead. It's fascinating because it's a contemporary version or vision of David Copperfield. So there's, which of course is a Dickens novel. And so it's about poverty, it's about the opioid crisis, it's about foster care and hopelessness and homelessness, but ultimately it is hopeful. And it's very, very well written, as you might guess, because she won the Pulitzer Prize. And I just thought it was fabulous. So since we're on the subject, I wanted to mention it.
Perfect, thank you. I just finished rereading The Poisonwood Bible.
So good.
Barbara Kingsolver.
Yeah.
Sorry, turn this into a little book club here. Okay, Commissioner, board concerns.
If I may, and so I may have, wasn't supposed to, I'm able to talk about this now. I wasn't supposed to mention this over the past couple of weeks, although I may have given people just a clue that this might be going on. The governor's office, so I'm chair of the Council of Forest Trust Land Counties in Oregon. And the governor's office has reached out to the council telling us that she would like to somehow resolve some of the financial input that this habitat conservation plan is going to have on the trust counties and our special districts. Senior Natural Resource Advisor to the Governor, Jeff Huntington, is involved. The governor has brought on former Coos County Commissioner Melissa Cribbins to help steer this conversation moving forward. And she's also brought on Mason Palmer from the Department of Land Conservation Development. And when I first heard that, I was thinking, well, why is someone from DLCD involved in forestry issues? And I was told that this is because he has such great relationships in the legislature. And the governor is going to be looking to Mason, if we can come to some sort of an agreement, to massage the legislature, because the legislature is the only body that can actually provide funds to be spent. If indeed we're able to find a way to keep the counties and special districts in the trust counties from going bankrupt. So that's good news. We had our first meeting on Monday. That was an in-person meeting. We must have had 17 or 18 commissioners in the room, with another half dozen or so online. And for a couple of hours, the governor's office was great in just listening to what we had to say and how this was going to affect the trust counties moving forward. We appreciate this outreach from the governor's office very much. With the people she has on board, it looks like the governor is serious about trying to find a way to ameliorate the financial disaster that is going to become bestowed upon the trust counties if and when this HCP is finally put into place. So we're just in the very early conversational stage of this. Whether we come to some resolution or not, we're very early in the conversation. So moving forward, it is my hope that we can come to some sort of an agreement. Is it going to resolve all of the issues that this HCP places on the trust counties? Well, maybe. I don't think it would. But just having the conversation with the governor's office is extremely important. So we appreciate this very much. So we did schedule 2 meetings. The first was Monday. We have another meeting this afternoon, especially for counties that were not able to attend the meeting on Monday. But I did make sure that we invited all of the commissioners that were with us on Monday to come back and have further conversations with the governor's office. So again, this is just, this is a hopeful sign that the governor understands the financial consequences that is going to come to the trust counties and our special districts should this HCP be put into place as it currently stands. So that recognition is important. It is. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Hopes are up. At least we hope so. Where this is going to go, we don't know. But conversation is important. So with that, Madam Chair, thank you.
Absolutely. I will let that stand just to say that I was in attendance at that meeting, and I believe all 3 of us will be in attendance today at the continued meeting with the governor's office. This is so important to Tillamook County. When you look at 25% of our general fund coming from those timber revenues, we have to be at this table. We have to be in this conversation to protect our very basic services in Tillamook County. So please know that your commissioners are all deeply engaged. So. Okay, we are going to have an executive session, but before we do that, I will go ahead and do the board announcements, which allows folks to not have to wait around for us if you just want to know what's going to happen in the future, because we will not make decisions. I don't believe in come out and codify those, so I don't think there's a reason to have to hang around. So other meetings and announcements. The commissioners will hold a board briefing on Wednesday, September 13th, 2023 at 2 p.m. to discuss weekly commissioner updates. The meeting will be held in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 in the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. I do believe we are going to start this meeting at 2:30 today. Official notification will need to go out because of the CFTLAC meeting we just discussed regarding the conversation with the governor. So we will get that notification out that it will begin at 2:30. The commissioners will attend an Association of Oregon Counties District 7 meeting on Friday, September 15th, 2023 at 10 a.m. at 4165 North Highway 101, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 1-314-730-2474, conference ID 174924950. The commissioners will attend an Association of Oregon Counties Senate Bill 80 wildfire mapping meeting on Friday, September 15, 2023 at 2 p.m. at 4165 North Highway 101, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 1-314-730-2474, conference ID 174924950. The Local Public Safety Coordinating Council, LPSC, teleconference will be held on Monday, September 18, 2023 at 12 p.m. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 155859952#. The commissioners will attend a county strategic plan work session on Monday, September 18th at 2 p.m. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 810-248-796. Okay, with that, we will recess this meeting at 10:04 a.m.